大家好, kumusta? My name is Victor, and in today's video, we're going to talk about a topic that is sort of controversial, or it's been talked about a lot of times, this gear matter. And I've invited two of my friends to kind of share their thoughts about this subject matter. The first one is a content creator and also a great fitness cinematographer. And the second one makes short films in the comedy genre. Now, you have two perspectives, well, three, including my point of view. And one is a working professional and the content creator. And the second one is someone who's just trying to get himself into the industry. But he does great work. That's why I think his opinion matters for everyone who's just starting out as well. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and it's recording, right?
No, it's not. It's not on.
I turned off the front, I think. We're recording? Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You turned off the front tally light?
Yeah, I don't know why.
Dangerous. God damn.
Oh, I know why. It's
Why?
because I was shooting once, like outside, and then like I was doing a wide shot.
Yeah.
And then this one person just like walked in frame, and then she's like, "You're not recording, right?" It's like, "Yeah, I was," because I couldn't lie to her. The tally light was on. I was like, "I don't want to be in the video." I was like, "It's fine. I'll just delete it." And I was like, "Okay, are you sure?" I was like, yeah, I'll delete it right now.
Yeah.
So I turned it off.
Yeah.
So that no one knows I'm filming.
God damn. That's so stressful.
I know. I'm just like, come on.
Because like I'll stare at it like when I'm recording YouTube videos, like I'll leave the tally light on because
Yeah.
like I might get a really good take, look at it, and if it's not recording, I get pissed. If I do like a whole take of a video, I got like 3 of them in me.
Yeah.
If I have that 4th one, I just call it a day.
Does gear matter? And I want to hear your take in like 2-3 minutes.
I mean, it might take more than that. Gear definitely matters. Like for the sheer purpose, we're going to go on the extreme end.
Right.
If gear doesn't matter, then anything goes. And I wish that was true. I wish I could pull up my iPhone, show it to a client that's paying me $5,000-$10,000, and that would suffice.
Right.
Obviously, it doesn't. But I think where the problem is people will say gear matters in place of sometimes a coping mechanism.
Right.
In either situation, either they have everything and they realize they don't need it, so they'll say, well, gear doesn't matter. Or they won't have everything, won't have access to everything, so they'll say gear doesn't matter to kind of aid some sort of fear of missing out.
Right.
Gear matters in the context of whatever job that you're doing. So if I have a gig that I need a good tripod for, getting the good tripod makes sense. If I have a gig where I need a gimbal,
right,
having a gimbal makes sense. And if it's a job that I do frequently, if it makes me money, then it only makes sense in my head to get the better category of whatever piece of gear that you're getting.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Well, then how do you find out what the good category is? Well, I can't buy everything, so you'll pay restocking fees out the wazoo. Well, you go on to YouTube and you research people that have that gear that are reviewing it. Mm-hmm. So it's education, right? Like, right. I don't think gear doesn't matter. I think you just have to be versed on what tools you use for which job.
Exactly.
You shouldn't bring a full trunk full of stuff, especially when you know you don't need it. But to know you don't need it, you kind of have to have it for a bit to begin with, right? Like, I wouldn't know about certain cameras that work for my workflow if I didn't own or rent or use those cameras.
Right.
Now, like, we live in Toronto. There's you could throw a stone outside and there's a rental house somewhere, so you can borrow anything that you want. Yeah. But not everybody's in that situation, right? So.
Exactly, yeah. Of
course, gear is going to matter. It's contextual to what you're doing, and if it wasn't, then we all would just pick up one of these guys, and that would be fine.
Exactly.
But
yeah.
we all don't do that, and it's a weird conversation because a lot of people will say like, "Well, gear doesn't matter." I'm like, "Well, like under what circumstances does it not matter?" Because it definitely does, or these companies wouldn't have if it didn't matter, then companies wouldn't keep innovating technology over and over again.
Right.
If it made no sense, right? So that's kind of my take on it. It definitely matters up until the point where you know what you want to use it for, or you know what it's for and what it's not for.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's just my take.
All right, I'm introducing myself for the 3rd time. Hi there. My name is JD Kalantar, and I am a filmmaker here in the Toronto greater area.
This could be anywhere.
Yeah, this is definitely Toronto, guys. If you could see it, the CN Tower's right there.
Here, I'm going to tilt it up for them.
There, it's Toronto.
Yeah, right.
That's not a green screen.
JD's been like a long time friend. It's been 12 years last time we saw each other.
12 years.
We went to uni, the same program.
Yeah.
And we also dropped out of that program.
Shout out York University. I mean, the opposite of shouting out, York University.
So do you think in your stage, you can talk about a little bit more
Sure.
about where you are at in
Yeah.
terms of filmmaking, but do you think gear matters?
So it's not a trick question, but I think it depends on where you are in your filmmaking journey. I think if you're just starting out, no, it really doesn't. You just need to get out there and start shooting stuff. Shoot what you want to shoot. If you want to be like a cinematographer, start looking into, practicing framing with whatever camera you have. It could be your phone. Practice framing, practice lighting. Those things really go a long way with whatever camera you're using. It doesn't matter what camera you're using. And for me, like someone who's writing like short films or skits, it's really about the content. You want it to be funny. You want it to be a good story. It doesn't, and if anything, I'd prioritize audio upgrades first over video.
Ow! Dude!
Please, just spend a couple hours with me, and I promise I'll let you go.
All right, fine. But can I please use the washroom quickly? I really gotta pee.
Because most cameras now shoot 1080p. Like, it's really hard to get a camera that shoots under 1080p nowadays. And that's fine. If you have good lighting, a good story, and decent audio, just like a shotgun mic that's not like your default camera mic, it goes a long way. It makes a big difference. Then, once you've honestly, I would wait a couple years when you kind of figure what your niche is, what you like, what you want to pursue, whether it's, cinematography, even if you want to just shoot homes. That's when I started to upgrade my gear, as once I realized I wanted to make more films and take it seriously. That's when I got the Sony A7, 4, which is our sponsor. No, I'm kidding. One day.
Sony.
Hey, check out
Hey.
your boy.
Hey.
It took me at least 4 or 5 years of filming with my, Canon 80D that I was and even that was an upgrade from my previous camera. It took time and experience to really be this is what I want to do and what I want to take seriously. I think you just got to figure out what you want to do first before you start throwing money at something that you might not even want or need for your filmmaking.
Now, if you ask me, does gear matter? Well, yes, it does. And at the same time, it kind of doesn't. There's two perspectives here where if you do need it for work, then yes, it does make sense. But the second one, where JD comes in, when you're just starting out and you're just trying to get a feel of cinematography or filmmaking, any sort of tool that you already own already makes sense. Like practice lighting, practice composition, exposure. And we've all been there. As a beginner filmmaker, we don't have a lot of resources because we're not earning money from the hobby or the passion that we want to get into. But over time, once you do the work, once you get paid for gigs, gear start to matter more. Now, in my perspective as a minimalist, and I'm not a hardcore minimalist, keep things or buy things that are useful for your work. And if it doesn't serve a purpose, let's just say you haven't used a certain type of gear for a long time, I think it's time to let go. That's when that type of gear doesn't matter, when you don't use it. The second thing about minimalism as well is to keep things that kind of matter to you and what makes you happy. And that means that, let's just say this Fuji film camera, this is the X100F. I didn't want to get the V because I got a good deal on this one. I think I got this for like 600 USD used in Korea, and that it's amazing. It gives me joy, it gives me happiness whenever I take it out, and that I don't necessarily need it. So yeah, I will try out a lot of gear. And at the same time, I'm going to sell a lot of them because sometimes that piece of gear might not be applicable to me. And that gear won't matter at all. But the others will, because one, it's for work. It makes sense for the types of jobs that I do. And that gear absolutely matters for a lot of people. At the end of the day, whether you're shooting a high budget commercial or filming someone's wedding, you're not going to show up with a phone unless they request it, but you're going to show up with gear that makes the end product look really good. And that's why gear matters. So what are your thoughts on gear? Comment down below and join the conversation. I'll see you guys next video. Peace.
And we'll be back next week with what shoes to wear while you're walking with a gimbal. No, we're not going to do that.
No.
That'll be in a month from now.
No, that's we gotta find a sponsor.
Yeah.
We can't afford shoes.
No.
We're starving artists.
Barefoot. That's the tools I was given,
Like,
and that's what I'm using.
Okay, cut.
Perfect.